Good morning, class. Welcome to the online classes for physics. In the last class, we have seen that we have started the new chapter, that is electromagnetic and induction. And the previous class, we have seen the topic, that is what is electromagnetic induction, how a changing magnetic field can just give a chance to induce a current. That is, we have seen that the current was not induced, it was an EMF. Because whenever we take a closed circuit, then only the current can be induced in that circuit. If we talk about the open circuit, then EMF will only produce, right? So EMF is kind of a potential difference that is induced across that current carrying element. What we have seen that whenever a moving charge is there, it produces magnetic field. Similarly, if we are taking a moving magnetic field, that is if the magnet is trying to rotate, then what can happen that this moving magnetic field can produce the EMF or can induce current in that element, that the current carrying element can produce, or in a conductor. We can't say that a current carrying element because we are not providing any external current to it. We are just giving a rotational magnetic field due to which the EMF is induced in the that conductor coil or anything. We can take a copper coil also, because any metallic or the conductor coil, it will carry the current due to this rotating magnetic field or a moving magnetic field. And what we have seen in the last class, that the moving charges produces magnetic field. Similarly, the moving magnetic field will produce current. And we have seen that flux. What is flux? What we have seen that flux is something, are lines which are parallel to a surface. Like if we are taking a surface and if we are taking the magnetic field lines, okay, if we are taking a magnetic field lines, what will happen that the number of the lines which can pass normal to the surface, it will be considered as a magnetic flux, and flux is given by phi. So what the area will be, it will depend on the number of the lines. So how many the lines can pass, it will depend on the area of that closed surface, right? Here the number of the lines are more, here you can see the number of the lines are less. So this phi, that is magnetic flux, it will depend on the magnetic field lines, how much the lines of forces are coming from the magnet. And if you're talking about the area, it also depends on the area of that surface through which is going normally to the surface, right? So these were the things that we have seen about the flux, and we have said that the flux, that is phi, is equal to BA, and we have seen that it is BA cos theta. By it is taken that if some line is moving in any direction, then what this will be giving you the flux? No, that is not considered flux, because the lines which are perpendicular to the surface or passes normally to the surface, it will be penetrating the surface and will move. Okay, it will not only perpendicular or touch the surface, but will be penetrating the surface and will move. So that line will be given as the flux. So number of the lines passing will give the more flux. And if the area is large, then also the flux is more. And if the magnetic lines of forces are in large numbers, so that we can say that the maximum flux can also be found. Okay. So what is this? That here you cannot say that this is the flux, because the horizontal component of this flux will be taken as the number of the magnetic line perpendicular to that of the surface. So here you can take this horizontal component as B cos theta and vertical component as B sin theta. So how many lines are passing here? That this will be the line through which we can say that this will be the flux. So number of the line passing like this in the parallel condition, that is the horizontal component of the magnetic field, will be taken as the flux. So what phi B, that is the magnetic flux, can be given as BA cos theta, that is B cos theta, that is the horizontal component of magnetic field along with the area of that surface. So this is what the value for the magnetic flux. And what else we have seen? That due to this magnetic flux, that is a changing flux, we will be talking about it now. If we are saying magnetic flux density, then the number of the lines passing through that area, that is the dense lines, how many the number of the lines will be passing through surface, will give the magnetic flux density. We have seen the electric flux density also, right? We have seen the magnetic flux density also. Okay. Now we will see that how this will generate EMF. Like if you are taking a current carrying coil, let this be the copper turns, and just connect this to the galvanometer, or you can connect it to the multimeter also. You can connect any of the two devices, because galvanometer will also show the deflection during the current passing through it, and the multimeter will also show you the deflection. So let's connect to any one of the device which you can get from the lab also. So by connecting this, if you are bringing a magnet near to it, N or S, and what you will do, you will try to rotate this magnet, And while rotating this magnet, what we can say that there is a deflection in the galvanometer's needle, and this deflection, what it will show that there is some current induced in the, or the EMF is induced in the this copper conductor. So we can say this EMF because they are not giving any external supply or the battery supply to get the current in this conductor. So what is going on, that is the potential differences induced across the ends of the conductor, which will show us the EMF, and EMF is shown by E. So what it will depend, that number of the magnetic field lines due to this magnet. What will happen, this magnet will have some magnetic field lines because the magnetic field lines are moving from north to south, right? This north to south lines are coming, and some lines are used to be like this. Okay, so when these some lines are getting normal perpendicular to that of the surface, so the number of the lines which will be telling or touching that conductor perpendicularly normally to the surface, that will show us the number of the flux. And as we try to move this magnet, so the number of the flux lines will also change, because we can say that 3 lines will touch the surface. Again, when we rotate it, some more lines will touch. So when you just rotate slowly, so the number of the lines touching the surface or parallel, that is normal to the surface, will be less. So the number of the flux lines are changing. So magnetic flux lines are changing. This changing magnetic flux will induce EMF. So this will produce EMF. What it will depend on, that is the rate of change of flux. So this is what the formula for the EMF, and this is for the electromagnetic induction. But this experiment was given by the Faraday first time, that taking this current carrying conductor or any conductor which can show the electricity conductivity, it will have some magnetic field when we are taking a rotating magnetic field or a moving magnetic field. So this was the Faraday's law also. That what was the Faraday's law, that the induced EMF is produced due to the changing magnetic field, right? So this was the laws for the Faraday, and he has given the 2 laws. That one was that the induced coil, or we can say that the magnetic flux that is linked with the circuit will produce the EMF, induce EMF in it, and lasts only till when there is a change in the flux. If we are taking the not taking as a change in the flux, then the magnetic induction will not induce, that is EMF will not induce over there. And what the second law tells us about, that the magnitude of the induced EMF, that is induced EMF magnitude, is directly proportional to that of the rate of the change of the flux with the closed circuit. So this was the formula for the Faraday's second law, and the first law was also similar, but he tells that the change in the magnetic field can produce or induce EMF in a current conductor. Okay, and what Lenz's law tells, that the direction of the induced current, that whatever the cause of this conducting, that this conductor is inducing EMF, that cause will be opposed by that current. So the EMF will induce its own cause. So it opposes the change in the magnetic flux. So if you are increasing the magnetic flux, that induced current can decrease the magnetic flux. So this is what, that it will oppose the change in the magnetic flux. So this is directly proportional, but in the opposite direction, since it is opposing. So this is what the Lenz law is, right? After that, what else we have seen, that the rotating magnetic field can produce a induce EMF in the conductor. Similarly, we have seen that what are the factors that can change the magnetic flux line, that is the magnetic field. As the strength of the magnetic field will increase, the line of magnetic lines of force can also be changed, and the number of the magnetic lines of force as they will increase. So we can just change the induced EMF's value also, because the EMF depends on the number of the magnetic field lines passing normally to the surface. So with changing magnetic field, we can change the number of the magnetic field lines. So this can change the induced EMF also. These are the cause which can change the magnetic field lines, and this will change the induced EMF's value also. That is, more induced EMF can also be taken by the change in the magnetic field. Similarly, we can just change the area also. Whatever the large area will be, the number of the lines passing through it will be more. So the magnetic flux will change more. Okay. Similarly, we can change the relative orientation, that is theta, that is B. We know that was BA cos theta. On changing theta also, we can find the magnetic flux to be changed. Okay. And what else we have seen, that if we are taking a rotating conductor that is of length L, then the with velocity with what it is moving can be taken as vdt, that is change in the velocity with respect to the time, then how much it is displaced can be given by vdt. Okay, and the epsilon, that is flux, will be taken as the rate of change of magnetic field, and the area will be given as LV dt, and what the EMF is given as d phi by dt. So it will be BLV dt upon dt. So this dt and dt will be cancelled. So what the value was? BLV. So what we can say, this EMF is taken as BLV, right? So according to the rule also, it is induced EMF, and always what we can say, that the induced current always flows here will depend on the changing EMF, that is changing magnetic field and by changing the area of the coil. And what else we have seen? We have seen the formula that if phi, it is d phi by dt, that is rate of change of flux lines, and it can be given as phi 2 minus phi 1. Similarly, this phi 2 minus phi 1 can be given as n phi 2 minus phi 1 also, because minus sign shows the opposing of the induced EMF, that is rate of the change of the magnetic flux will be opposed by its cause, that is Lenz's law, and the n is the number of the turns per unit length of the conductor. So these were the points which we have seen about the flux and the magnetic flux in electromagnetic induction. Similarly, what are the points that we have should be remembered, that induced EMF, whenever it is set up, when the magnetic flux linked with it, it should be open, right? For the induced EMF, we can say that the circuit should be open. And if we talk about the induced current, then for induced current, then the circuit should be closed, because of the closed circuit itself the current will flow. And we can say that if the magnet is moving continuously, if it is rotated, then only the induced EMF will be there. If the magnet is moving with a constant velocity, right, it is moving with very slowly or with a constant velocity, then also the induced EMF will be not there, or the EMF will be not induced when a coil is moving less velocity. That is, we can say that if the magnet and the coil together, this magnet and the coil both are moving with relative velocity, that they are moving with the same direction or moving with the same velocity, then also the electromagnetic induction will be not there. Okay. So what EMF will be? That is when a magnet is rotated axis perpendicular to the length of the magnet, that is coil's length, it will be perpendicular to it and will be rotated. It should not be rotated on its axis. Okay. And what else things, as a changing magnetic field produces a electric field, and the changing electric field can produce a magnetic field. So from there, what we can say, that this is d phi by dt. Phi's value was BA cos theta, right? From there, what we can give it as, that is, if we write the value of the BA cos theta in the place of the phi, then what we can just write is epsilon is equals to minus d phi by dt, and the phi value was BA, so minus, it will be BA cos theta and upon dt, that is d by dt will be there. So on differentiating it, what we will get, that is BA sin theta. But here in place of theta, what we can write it as, that is, if the coil is rotating with an angular velocity omega, because we are taking a rotating coil, then what the value of theta will be, it is taken as omega, that is theta, velocity will be, angular velocity will be omega. Omega is given as rate of change of theta upon time, so angular displacement upon time, so theta's value will be omega into t. On keeping this value, the phi will be BA cos omega t. On putting this value in d phi by dt, that is induced EMF can be found. So induced EMF will be differentiating of BA cos omega t. So BA will be same, omega will come front, and it will be sin omega t, and cos is minus. Similarly, this minus will become plus, so that's why it is BA sin omega t. Similarly, if the number of the turns are n, then it will be NBA sin omega t. And if we take this omega, that is will be 2 pi f, then what it will be, 2 pi f NBA, and this can be written as epsilon naught. If we are taking this value as epsilon naught, then it is epsilon sin omega t. This is what the value for the induced EMF, that is E0 sin omega t. Similarly, if omega t can be written as 2 pi f, omega can be given as 2 pi f, so the value it can be written as 2 pi f t also. Okay, so these were the values which can be used in the formula, and we have seen that the current V is equals to IR, right? From there, if we take as induced current, then it will be V upon R. From there, we can write that induced EMF is similar to that of the potential difference, so this is E0 upon R, so the value will be E upon R. So this epsilon, that is E induced EMF, will be given to you. Okay. So now we will be seeing the new topic here, that is eddy currents. What we have seen, that current can be conducted only or induced only in the conducting coils, and that is only when the metal is totally closed circuit, then only. So whenever we take a magnetic flux, then it will be changing, then only the EMF is induced in it. So induced current will flow in the closed path itself, and that too in the perpendicular line of the force. So these currents which are taking place in the closed circuit of the surface is said to be the eddy currents. And these currents were first discovered by the Foucault. So first the eddy currents were named as Foucault. After that, these eddy currents were named for the small currents that are taking part in a closed loop, that in the form of a closed loop they are taking part. So that was said to be the eddy currents. So the small current which is induced in the closed circuit in the direction perpendicular to that of the force experienced, or the magnetic force experienced by it. So perpendicular to it, it will there the current flow on it, but only in the closed path, not in the open path. In open path, EMF will be produced. So what are the eddy currents? That is that current which are induced in the solid when the magnetic flux changes through them. Okay, so when the magnetic flux changes through them, the current is induced but in the closed path. So that is said to be the eddy current. Okay, so many examples would be there in the book also, that how the eddy currents can be formed also. But what are the applications? What you can say, that it is used for the induction furnace, that is the metal is taken and the magnetic field is rapidly changes, a large eddy currents are set up, and this large eddy current will be in the form of AC. AC current will flow, and this AC current, what it will do, it will try to produce a heat. So the heat will try to can melt a metal also. So what we can say, that whenever a metal is taken and the changing magnetic field is taken due to this conductor, if you are taking a changing magnetic field, what will happen, that the current will be induced in the closed path. These induced in the closed path will be taken as eddy current. So these eddy current can be in the metal, a very large eddy current will flow, and these large eddy current will produce high frequency AC. That is, AC will be this, that is changing of the magnitude and the direction. So this AC will have a high frequency. So high frequency EMF will be generated, AC will be generated. So this current will have a large heat also, because we know that whenever the electrons or charges are moving with a high rate, so the heat will be produced, and this heat produced by the current can be even melt the metal also. So this metal can be we can say that this can be used for the extraction of the metals, because they are trying to melt the metal. So this can be used for the extraction of the ores from the metals. And after that, what we have, electric brakes are used, that is a strong magnetic field is applied to rotate the drum, or that is the wheels, and these eddy currents will set up and exert a torque on the drum, so that to stop the train. So these drums are connected to the rotating part of the wheel, and these wheels will be connected to that of the wire through which it will going to the breakage. When we are seeing in the trains, we used to pull it, right? On pulling it, what will happen, that is, a rotating drum is attached to it, and the strong magnetic field will trying to generate a torque on it. On generating a torque, the drum will be so as to that it will be stopped. Okay, and that will try to stop the train. And similarly, it will be used in speedometers also. That is, the magnetic is placed inside the drum, which and helps in the position of the hairspring. So what it will happen, eddy currents are set up in the drum and will oppose the motion, because it is always the currents, induced current will oppose the change in the flux. Induction motors are there, electromagnetic shielding is there, energy meters are there. Here all what we can say, that the eddy currents applications can be used. Okay, now we will see what the self induction is. Now we know that induced EMF is there with the rate of change of magnetic flux, that is, a changing magnetic field can produce what, induced EMF, and the induced current will oppose the magnetic flux, that is rate of the change of magnetic flux. Now what we can say, that now we are talking about self induction, that is, if you are taking a current coil, that is a conductor coil, then what will happen, that we can just have a magnetic flux through that, then it will just induce the EMF on its own. Okay, there will be an induced EMF in the coil. When the current passes through, it will be changed. So what we will be thinking, that how the current is coming, right? So how it will be, that is, the magnetic flux will change that oppose the EMF, and the current will be induced, and these current will try to induce in the whole coil, and it is inducing itself by the current itself. producing it to induce the current. So what we can say that this current will be induced in it by itself. That's why it is named as self-induction. So when a current flows in a coil, it gives rise to the change in the magnetic flux, or what we can say that the strength of the current will try to change that magnetic flux and oppose the EMF induced in it. And these EMF which is opposing to it and will try to induce in it will be the self-induction. So what will happen that if we are taking a battery to it and we are trying to give a supply of the current, and if you are taking a switch and it is closed switch, what you can say it is a closed switch. So when if it is closed, now it is closed, okay, when it is closed the current will be induced in this direction. Now if we try to open it, now what will we try to, we will try to open it, what will happen, now when we open it the induced current will be in this direction. Okay, so what that means, they are trying to induce the current but that is in the opposes the EMF, that is it will oppose the EMF induced in the coil and will try to induce current. So what the current will flow in the coil. So now we are applying the external battery, right? So what we can say, the current is induced through this battery and it will try to give the magnetic flux, change in the magnetic flux will be there because the current is induced by ourselves. Now what it will be, it will try to oppose the EMF, and these induction of the EMF in this coil due to its own effect, it will be taken as self-inductance. Okay, this self-induction can be given as that the magnetic flux will be directly proportional to the current. How much the current will be generated through this battery will be given as the largest current, then the largest magnetic flux will be given. If we are taking a current of less value, then the magnetic flux will also have the less value. So phi will be directly proportional to the current, and if we take the coefficient as L, this L will be given as a self-conduction. So this L will be equal to that of, or we can write it as L is equals to phi upon I, or phi is equals to Li. Okay, and if we talk about the EMF, then EMF will be directly proportional to the rate of the change of the magnetic flux itself, but it will be inducing, and that is it will be opposing it, right? So minus d phi by dt, and what we know that phi will be given as Li, so it will be I cannot be differentiated, that is L cannot be differentiated, so it will be L di by dt. So this will be the self-inductance formula. Okay, this is what the self-induction is, that is coil is equal, that is self-inductance of a coil is equal to that of the magnetic flux linked with it when the unit current flows through it. That is a current, if it is unit, then it can be say that it will be directly proportional to the magnetic flux, because if its I is 1, then what it will be be proportional to L. Okay, and what else we can say, that is phi, if it is given as dA upon I, it can be given as FQEB sin theta also. Okay, so different formulas are there, it will depend on the numerical that what the question is asking you and what are the values that are given in the question. Okay, now if we talk about for a long solenoid, what we have seen, that is the magnetic field for a solenoid, it is given inside the coil, it is given as the mu naught Ni. Okay, so if we talk about a magnetic flux, then it will be phi is equals to Ba, and if we talk about this value, that is mu naught Nia, it will be, and we know that the current magnetic flux change and will be multiplied by the number of the turns on it, that is if it is mu naught Nia, that is the magnetic flux with each turn, single turn. Now if we are talking about the number of the turns, then it will be Nl. So what the value will be, that is phi will be equals to that of Li, where L will be equals to mu naught, two n's are there, we are just taking it out, and Ia is also there, then what we can write it as Li, phi is equal to Li, where L is the constant that can be given as mu naught n square Ia, and this will be the self-inductance, that is for the long solenoid we can say. This small n will be the value for the capital N upon L, that is number of the turns per unit length. Okay, so what we can say, that in the solenoid it will depend on the number of the turns, it will depend on the current, it will depend on the mu also, that is permeability also. Okay, so the current is trying to induce in the self coil itself, but by opposing the EMF on it. So this is taken as the self-induction. Now we will be seeing the mutual inductance, that is the current will be flowing on it, but it will try to mutually in the other coil also, that is the one coil will try to induce the current in the other coil also, and this phenomenon will be mostly seen in the transformers, that is the two coils will be used. Okay, number of the turns will be there also. So what is mutual inductance? That is the production of the induced EMF, because in both the induced EMF will be there the induced current is there that will oppose the EMF, and this will be said as a self-inductance in the coil. If you talk about a mutual inductance, then we will be taking in the number of the coils also. Okay, if you are taking the number of the coils here, so what we can say that if you are taking this here as a battery also, that we will supply a current, and we will see that how much the change is there in the galvanometer. From there also we can find out the current. So what will happen that the mutual inductance, there will be an induced EMF in the coil due to the change in the current. That is, if there is a change in this coil, then it will try to induce EMF in this coil also. This is what the mutual inductance is. That is, EMF is induced here, but it will try to induce the EMF in the neighboring coil also. So this is what the mutual inductance will be. Here also the formula will be same, that it will depend on the current. It will directly proportional to the current in the coil, that will be on the primary coil itself. This will be the primary coil and this will be the secondary coil. So what the current will be in the primary coil, it will try to induce in the secondary coil also. So it is directly proportional to the current, but on the primary coil's current. So here from we can write the constant, that is Mi, where the M will be the mutual inductance and M is equals to phi upon I. Or by putting the value of epsilon, we can decide E, that is EMF, that is phi upon T d phi by dt. There also we can find out the value of the EMF also. That is, EMF will be given by minus d phi by dt, Mi, M will be coming out, and it will be M di by dt. And if current is unity, then EMF will be depending on the mutual inductance, right? So this is similar to that of self-inductance itself, but here the mutual inductance will be taken as the two coils. That is, if you are considering two coils like this primary and the secondary coil, and if the current flows through the primary coil, now we are attaching a battery to it, so the current will be flowing through this primary coil. What will happen that if the current is varied, then the magnetic flux will be there in the changes. See, here the magnetic flux will be changed in the secondary coil. So there will be change in the magnetic flux, or the EMF can be induced. Since the magnetic flux will change, the EMF will be induced in the secondary coil. And we can see the deflection in this galvanometer if there is some current produced in this secondary coil. So what will happen that if the current is just allowed to flow through the primary coil, then we can see that some EMF is induced in the secondary coil. So this is what the induction of the current in the secondary coil due to the primary coil is taken as the mutual inductance. Okay, so two coils will be used. And what we can say that the mutual inductance unit will be taken as Henry. Unit will be taken as Henry. So you just have to remember the points also, like inductance is the measure of the magnetic flux and the current. And we can say that the solenoid, if you talk about solenoid, then the negligible resistance will be there for the inductance, because in solenoid the self-inductance is there. So large number of the coils can give you the large inductance also. Okay, and we can see that different types of inductors, like here you are seeing about a coil, right? But there are different passive elements are also there, like capacitor, resistor and inductors, which can produce a current in it. So M, and not only for this mutual or the self inductance, not only this conductors or the copper coil, but we can use different passive elements like resistance, inductor, or we can say it as a capacitor. So this three of them will try to induce EMF and will try to store the energy also. So the current is applicable for both, because in the current also we will be seeing that two types of currents are there, AC and the DC. So it will depend on that also. So what are the formulas that we can see here? That is, L was given as d phi by dt, that is induced EMF E was given as M d phi by dt for mutual inductance, and again minus L d phi by dt di by dt for the self inductance. What are the values? That phi is equals to Li and phi is equals to Mi for mutual inductance. If we talk about a mutual induced EMF, then it will be epsilon minus M di by dt. Like if we talk about phi, then it will be Li for self inductance. If we talk about a mutual inductance, then phi is equals to Mi. Okay, and if we talk about epsilon, say that is induced EMF, then it will be minus L di by dt. Similarly for here, the induced EMF will be minus M di by dt. And we also seen that for current carrying that mu naught n square a I was taken as L for the solenoid, that is inductance was taken as L mu naught n square a by L. If you taking capital N, then it will be L. So there are many formulas. Now if you take the inductance for the two coils, like self-inductance is there for single coil. If we talk about the inductance, that too in the parallel or the series condition, then we can take that there is some inductance but a mutual also and the self inductance also. Like if you are taking a series condition, there the mutual inductance will be there. Like if you are taking these two coils in the series condition, like if they are attached to a series condition, then EMF will be generated in both, but here the number of the magnetic field lines, like if you are taking like this, the magnetic field lines are passing through, it will be perpendicular to the normal surface. So if let the self inductance in this will be L1 and this will be L2. So what we can write that the EMF generated in both of this will be together the sum of both the EMFs in both the coils individually. And what we know that if the coil 1 is having the self inductance, then it will be L di by dt. But if we talk about the second coil, the L2, then the number that is the current EMF induced due to the first coil in the second coil, then it will be M di by dt. So it is the sum total of both the coils. So what the negative sign shows that is both the self and the mutual are opposing the applied EMF on it. Okay. So together what we can write it as, that is minus L1 plus M for a single coil, and if we talk about for second coil, then it will be minus L2 M. So together what we can write is taking as L common, minus common, then it will be L plus L2 plus 2M will be given for you, L1 plus L2 plus 2M. Here what we can write, this was the value for the EMF. EMF was given by di by dt, but L will be there, right? So here also d phi by dt is there. So di by dt and di by dt will be cancelled. So L will be given for the equivalent, or the resultant L will be given for L1 plus L2 into M. Now if it is taken as parallel, two coils are taken as parallel, one let the self induction be L1 and in the other coil let the induction be L2. Then what will happen, that both will have the self inductance itself, and what we can give it as, that is EMF for the first coil will be given as L1 di1 by dt, and for the second one it will be L2 di2 by dt. Okay, and what we know, the mutual inductance is here negligible because both of them are parallel combinations, right? So one cannot induce the EMF in the second one. Similarly, if you take the values of the equivalent, that is epsilon, that is EMF will equal to E1 plus E2. So minus L1 will L1 di1 by dt plus minus L2 di2 by dt. So this value will be taken for the parallel condition. Now what we can say, together we can write it as di1 plus di2, and the L1 plus L2 will be taken as the L equivalent. From there what we can write, it will be 1, that di1 by dt can be given you as a E1 also. So what we can write it as, wait, now I am showing. So like if you are talking equivalent, then the L equivalent will be taken for you, and it will be di1 by dt plus di2 plus dt together like this. And if we take it as L equivalent, and di by dt will be given as epsilon upon L, right? We can write it as di by dt as epsilon L, that is EMF upon L. So it will be like EMF upon L1 plus EMF upon L2 for both the coils. So from here it can be written as EMF upon L equals the resultant EMF is there, that is the inductance. So from there what we can write, 1 upon LR will be equals to L1 plus L2. So this is like a parallel condition. Similarly we have taken it for the parallel condition for the resistance also. Now also the same condition, but if there is some mutual inductance, then M will also come along with the equation. So these were the formulas which we have seen for the chapter, that is the electromagnetic induction. In the next session we will be seeing the numericals for this chapter, and after that we will be going to start the alternating current. Okay, and the questions related to the MCQ will be sending you in the form of a PDF. Okay, thank you class.